Okay, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor. If you're watching real time, that means you are either a Patreon patron, and we appreciate your patronage, or it means that you have linked your Twitch Prime account to your Amazon Prime account. If you haven't done either of those, but you want to, of course, you can support us through Patreon, or look at the instructions in the show description, and we'll tell you how to link your Twitch account to your Amazon Prime account. It's pretty easy, but you've got to re-up it every month, and it costs you nothing. Getting to today's question from SIFTD, from Toast9. Hey, Pac, I was wondering why the PlayStation 5 pre-orders turned into such a disaster. How could Sony lose control of the situation so badly? All the same retailers are toeing the line with Microsoft, so why would they break formation with Sony? How do you think we should pre-order things going forward? The answer is that Sony started this by bowing out of E3. And so pre-COVID, we kind of knew that there wouldn't be a PlayStation 5 pricing announcement at E3 that looked like they were waiting for Microsoft to blink on price. In fact, when you say people toed the line with Microsoft, Microsoft's price leaked out. And so I think they didn't want to go first, and their pricing leaked out before they were ready to announce. And that's the only reason you got pricing when you did. Pre-orders, if you think about the normal pattern, and I'm just rolling back to 2013 and 2005, 6, and 2001, 2001. And I've been around for all those, by the way. If you think back to the normal pattern, consoles get announced and shown and priced at E3. So around the second week in June. And when they're announced and priced, typically you get pre-orders available for consumers, and pre-orders start right then. Now, the pace of pre-orders is probably pretty intense early on, but the way pre-orders worked in the past, in 2013 and 2005, 6, the retailers are taking as many pre-orders as they can get, even if they don't have content, so that they can roll back to the console manufacturer and say, hey, look at me. I've got 500,000 pre-orders. You have to give me 5 million consoles. The retailers line up and they say, we're going to prove to Sony that we need a lot of consoles. So what ends up happening is, let's just say that Sony's going to have, easy numbers, 5 million consoles available. Best Buy will try to get 1 million pre-orders, and GameStop will try to get 1 million, Target will try to get 1 million, Amazon will try to get 1 million, Walmart will try to get 1 million, so that they all get 20% of first day supply. And if GameStop gets 2 million and the other guys add up to 3 million, GameStop's going to say, give us 40%. That's just how it works. So the retailers are not afraid to oversell, because you're not going to get 5 million orders the second week in June. You're going to get 500,000 orders. And as long as pre-orders are available, what happens is, because grandma is not watching E3, so she's not worrying about Christmas shopping. So grandma doesn't show up until October, November. And people who don't actually pay attention to E3, and I know it's crazy, but there really are people like that, they drift in, or they want to read reviews, and they want to see the different models and figure out if 4 teraflops is enough, or do we need 14, whatever the hell. And if a 500 gigabyte solid state drive is big enough, or do they need a terabyte or whatever. And so pre-orders trickle in. And so you probably get 20-30% of pre-orders the week of E3. And then let's just say 10% a week thereafter for the next 10 weeks. So you get to the 100% number that you would get, it takes forever. Well, here along comes Sony. We're not going to E3. They did that last year too, but they do that in a console launch year. And then Microsoft says, we're not going to tell you about our pricing until, whatever month it was, August. And it leaked. And then Sony tells pricing, and then pre-orders happen in September. And waiting till September freak people out. Now we've only got 6 weeks before the consoles launch. We've got to get our pre-orders in. So you've compressed that 10-week period into 2 or 3. And demand was probably about the same for this cycle as it was for the last cycle, but you tripled early demand because it was so pent up. We had so much time between when they historically announced it and when they actually announced. And so ultimately, pre-orders just came in much, much higher than anybody anticipated. And it's not that they didn't have the units, because nobody has the units. It's that the websites weren't ready for it. So you had Best Buy's website crashed. Best Buy's never had more than 10 people searching on bestbuy.com at a time ever. And they probably had 100,000. And I'm exaggerating for effect, but I cannot believe bestbuy.com has ever had 1,000 contemporaneous searches ever in the history of bestbuy.com. I just don't believe it. Where Amazon can handle it, but Amazon started to freak out because no one has committed to Amazon. You will get 1 million units. So if Amazon, what I think really is going on is all these guys are thinking, I can take 100,000 pre-orders. And after that, I can't guarantee people are going to get it because I don't know if I'm getting units or not. And so what you got was website crashes, sellouts, because Amazon probably stopped taking orders at 100,000 or started saying, we'll get you one, but it may not arrive on launch day. It may take several weeks later. And that was the message people were getting back. And then to confuse things further, Sony launches the 2 models, Microsoft launches the 2 models, which I don't think we've ever seen that. I don't remember that ever. And so it just added to confusion. The retailers aren't sure what mix that they are able to offer. They were sold out of the Sony $500 model early, and they had some of the $400 model, and they're pushing people into it who actually want a disk drive. And so consumers were pissed. And same thing with Microsoft. They probably limited the number of $500 models, and the $300 model is not that popular because people don't know. And again, I don't remember the teraflops, but what 4 teraflops does versus 14. And if you don't have a 4K TV, you should buy the Microsoft $300 console because who cares? It'll play fine. But consumers don't know that yet. And so I just think the whole thing was a show, because Sony and Microsoft waited too long. I think there is an established pattern at E3 of announcing pricing, taking pre-orders and letting it roll for 10 weeks. And it was really dumb to wait, for July or September, 3 full months before they announced, and then started taking pre-orders because they compressed the demand into a couple of week period. And again, I think the retailers were just not ready for it. Not their fault. I mean, retailers can't control what Microsoft and Sony do. And so, I think people were pissed at Best Buy. They're pissed at Amazon. I didn't actually hear about Target, whether it was down or not. Walmart, because Walmart sells everything, and Walmart's been doing a lot of .com business. I actually think the Walmart site probably held up a little better. But again, who knows when you're getting your console if you pre-order. So that's the answer to why it was such a mess, why Sony lost control. And I would say, don't blame Sony only, blame Sony and Microsoft, but this is their own doing. I mean, what Microsoft should have done, taken pre-orders in June. They should have. They would have had 2 full months, 3 full months of pre-orders before anybody even knew what PlayStation was going to be priced. And instead, they were playing a waiting game, hoping Sony would price, at 600, and they could come in lower, and they both went out at 500, which I think was dumb too. I think Microsoft, instead of buying Bethesda, should have got the price of the Xbox Series X to 400, and I think they would have sold a lot more consoles that way. But anyway, that's what happened. How do I think you should pre-order things going forward? I don't actually get the concept of pre-order. Is it like, what does your penis grow an inch because you have a console the day that they come out? Like, I don't actually get this at all. It's like, are you going to live if you don't have a console on November 5th or 6th, whatever day that is? I mean, could you have one on December 5th and you'll be okay? You're going to be the same man you were yesterday? Yes, man or woman. I don't get it. I don't understand why people think they need to have stuff, the very first instant when they come out. How many people have taken delivery of a car the first day they come out? Nobody cares. Do you have to watch every episode of a TV show the instant it airs? Or do you do like I do and you DVR it, you watch it a few days later? Because that's what most people do. Do you wait until midnight on Friday or Thursday night to watch The Boys on Amazon when it launches, or can you watch it on Sunday? I mean, what the hell? What is wrong with you? So the answer is, how should you handle pre-orders going forward? Don't do it, and you won't be frustrated. Yeah, I think Microsoft and Sony should give consumers as much time as possible, so they should announce at E3. There's a reason E3 is in June. You know, it's like all the publishers and console guys got together 25 years ago and decided first and second week in June is the best place to slot E3 because it gives consumers plenty of time to understand what consoles are and what the games are and to plan for their purchases that fall. And so pushing this into September was just dumb. So going forward, they should show up at E3. They really should. And I know there are those of you who think you know better and that E3 is just not fun because we let consumers in. Get over yourselves. E3 is important for the business. And honestly, the guys who are staying away or moving off site or doing their own thing are just messing it up too. Sony's messing up by not being there. EA's messing up by doing it next door, but at least they do it, you know, at the same time. So at least they're close enough. And our Microsoft's next door too. As long as they're all the same week, I don't think it matters to spread out a little bit, but you know, Sony needs to be there and pre-orders seem to be taken at E3. All right, thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor. If you're a Patreon patron, we appreciate it. If you are not lame, you should have been able to figure out how to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. And if you are lame and have no money and can't afford it, please follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. It's free. We'll see you next time.